Morning, everybody. I see we've got a full house. That's always good news. We hope you're here for more than just the snacks and the drinks that will be served later. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ABSIP Young Professionals Savings Month event for 2026. We are so pleased to be co-sponsors as Nedbank and Nedgroup Investments. As you can see, we are dressed for success. How is our building? Because for some of you guys, it's the first time you've entered the doors. How is it? I see some clock dates. Thank you so much. But officially to start our event today, I'd like to say we are so honored as ABSIP Young Professionals, as Nedbank and Nedgroup Investments to be hosting you tonight. We hope the agenda that we've got planned proves to be worth your time. It is the last Thursday of July 2026, so we have to make it worth your time. My name is Lutando Mzilikazi. I am the Regional Manager for Gauteng at Nedgroup Investments. And for those who don't yet know what Nedgroup Investments actually means, it is the asset management or investment business here at Nedbank. But for tonight, I am simply your master of ceremonies. I was not planning for a clap at that point, but that works. There is no event without a theme. So as we've boldly articulated, the theme for tonight is Build, Grow, Secure. Why would you think we would actually set up a theme like that? Any guesses? You can't eat for free, guys. Any guesses? It is Savings Month. Yes? Hand at the back.
The idea is that we are young professionals, and so we are at the beginning phases. A lot of us are at the beginning phases of our careers, so now we are actively within the building phase where we're trying to grow and then eventually, hopefully, secure a good retirement.
Securing wealth, not just the retirement plan, but you are almost there, 100% accuracy in terms of the thinking behind the planning around the theme. So I was part of the team that was thinking about exactly what objectives we would want for you to walk away tonight with. And we wanted something that's going to be catchy, easy to remember, but also very practical. So out came bold, grow, and secure. So let's unpack that a little bit. Build was all about, as we think about our careers, we are so articulate as to what we want to become one day. The roles it will take for us to actually eventually get there, but also the academic experiences and qualifications we would need to actually help us achieve that. But how articulate are we around the point at which we want to reach at the end of our financial journey? And so we want to push you tonight to start thinking about, as you plan your careers, your academic successes, plan your future deliberately. What does grow mean? Grow speaks to the fact that as you grow into different roles, you go into different opportunities, and you get promoted, so does your money. But are you employing the right saving and investment strategies to help you grow your earnings further so that they can outlive you? And then comes secure. Secure is probably the most exciting part, but yet the most neglected part. Secure is all about how do you ensure that the strategies you've chosen are actually sustainable and can help you outpace the growth of inflation. It's also about thinking when you're ready to retire and even one day ready to hand over your wealth to your beneficiaries, how do you do it in a tax-efficient way so that you don't destroy a large part of what you've built during your working career? It's also about thinking more than just about your wealth. It's about thinking about the wellness of South Africa and Africa. As you know, we've got so many challenges that are facing us. In order for our monies to really work for us in the future, we need to fix what we actually have. And so that, ladies and gentlemen, is how we build, grow, and secure. Cool, hey? Yeah. So, we've meticulously chosen the presenters or speakers that will share the stage with me tonight to actually speak to each of those components so that we all leave having reflected on where we are in terms of building, growing, and securing, but more importantly, where we want to be, and articulating the journey it's going to take for us to get there so that we leave with something empowering, but also practical. But we know that ABSIP's in the house, so they want to do the opening address, so we'll let them do that. And I know that Nolo, Kabe Mahabo, has been nominated to do the opening address, so she'll do that. And I think the main point there is to remind us as to who ABSIP Young Professionals actually is and what they hope to achieve. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome on stage Nolo.
Thank you very much, Lou, for that. And good evening, everyone. First things first, I want to thank you for being here. It is cold, it's month end, and I know for a fact that half of you here have 3 or more things that are pulling at you right now. Deadlines, budgets, and probably even a group chat that's blowing up as I speak. So the fact that you chose to brave the weather and show up anyways to listen, to learn, and to pick up a few tools for your future, that says a lot about you. We see it and truly appreciate it, and I think each one of you deserves a round of applause for that. Now let me tell you a bit about who's standing in front of you. As Lou has graciously introduced me, my name is Lekhagonolo Magabo, and I'm standing before you in my capacity as the Deputy Chairperson of ABSIP Young Professionals. And I'm going to share a bit about who ABSIP Young Professionals is, what we do, why partnerships like these matter, and most importantly, how each and every single one of you sitting here today can actually join this movement and become a member yourself. So ABSIP Young Professionals is the youth wing of ABSIP, the mother body, as we call it. And we are the people whose job it is to make sure that young professionals like yourselves don't have to figure out the finance world completely on your own. As ABSIP Young Professionals, how do we do that? We do 3 things and we do it well. And none of them involve boring PowerPoints. Okay, maybe a few of them. We run a mentorship program where we connect you with people who've already walked the path, so you're not stumbling around in the dark. Secondly, we run skills development programs through our L&D pillar. The technical stuff, sure, but also the soft skills and skills that nobody teaches you in a textbook. We curate events such as this, where we create opportunities for you to meet industry leaders, peers, and get to mingle with like-minded people. And lastly, we try to give back too, because none of us got here completely alone, and we don't intend to keep that a secret. The truth is, the financial services industry hasn't always made it easy for people who look like us to get a seat at the table. So we exist as ABSIP Young Professionals to make sure that that door stays open and that once you're in the room, you know exactly what to do while you're there. Events like this and partnerships like this really matter for us as ABSIP Young Professionals. And Savings Month, as it is actually one of our annual flagship events, because we understand that Savings Month isn't just about learning to budget better, even though I encourage each and every one of us to do that in this economy. But it's so much more. It's about understanding money well enough that one day you are the one managing it, growing it, and teaching someone else how to do the same. And as ABSIP Young Professionals, the membership is what keeps this whole thing alive. Every person who joins adds another mentor, another opportunity, and another connection to the network. So we believe that our membership is less about signing up for a newsletter, but it's more about joining the crew that actually is going to help you get to where you're going. So tonight, as we talk build, grow, secure, save a little money, sure, but also invest a little time in yourself too. You already did that by showing up in this cold weather tonight. So I think up screen, if we can move on to the next one, these are just the different ways in which you can connect with us. We are on LinkedIn, Instagram, WhatsApp. You can essentially scan this QR code, and I believe that there will be pamphlets and flyers outside. Just as a way that you can connect with us. So I hope that each and every one of you that's sitting here will make it count. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of the program. Thank you.
DJ to get the music going. Please, otherwise we're falling asleep. But only when I'm going off the stage. Guys, I remember the first time I met Nolo. It was actually at an event like this at one of our competitors across the road. And it was a Savings Month event. And I remember sitting in the audience saying, I'm not a member. I'm coming into this space for the first time. I feel so empowered. I really want to take it to home, where I come from, which is Nedbank. And so I am so grateful, Nolo, that you walked the journey with me to actually get it here. But the most important person in this journey was Ulindiwe. She is going to say the sponsorship address. She is currently a skills coach at Nedgroup Investments, but she's also the head of our DEI. And she had to say yes to us participating. She had to say yes to us becoming a sponsor to make tonight happen. So ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Lindiwe.
Who am I finding for that? All right. Well, it's the sponsorship address, so ABSIP has to pay the bills, and I'm happy that they are. Before we start, I promised my boss. If it's a sponsorship address, you're all under duress for the next 10 minutes. So I need to make sure that all of you do take up a tax-free investments with us after this. So I need hands up. Who's going first? No one? Thank you so much, Lou. First of all, welcome to everyone. It's a full house. I think Munaka just did a count. 90 people. That's very exciting. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's a school night or a work night. I don't know. So we were just, when we did the event in Cape Town, we did it on Friday. So we just really didn't know which one would work better. So this is really good and very encouraging to see. I think, let me greet first the most important people, the ABSIP Young Professionals in the room, including those who are sussing out other ABSIP or Nedgroup Investments. I hope you are, as a future employee. Or investment partner, as well as our colleagues from Nedbank and Nedgroup Investments. I see a couple of them in the room, and of course our speakers and your guests. Thank you so much. On behalf of Nedgroup Investments, it truly is a privilege for us to host this event. Tonight has been a conversation with ABSIP for almost 2 years, and so it's really great to see it come alive and to know that the people that we're targeting actually are interested. At Nedgroup Investments, we manage investments every day. I'm a trainer as well, so I really can go on and on. But we specialize in unit trusts. How you differentiate us from the bank, I would say, and go home and teach someone this. If someone says, I want to open a savings account, like a 32-day notice account, send them to Nedbank. If they say, I want to save long-term, maybe for retirement, something along those lines, you send them to Nedgroup Investments. But both you will find at a branch. Is that good? Yeah. Okay. All right. As I mentioned, we manage investments every day. So you'll find us talking about markets, portfolios, returns, long-term wealth creation. But I think the story behind all of that, especially for our clients, is that financial freedom begins with the decision to save. That sounds very obvious, but I think the reality is far more difficult, and that's probably why you're here, because somewhere you are struggling with your financial plan. I know I am. So the evening tonight is really is about more than just financial products. If you do want to open a tax-free investment, I can help you tonight. Okay? But tonight is about building habits. It's about making informed decisions. It's about equipping ourselves with the practical tools that can change our financial futures. As you've heard, the theme is build, grow, secure, and I think that really captures the journey of a young professional, your money story, your money plan. So I think what we've really tried to create here is a safe space for you to think through what you've done in the past and what you're looking to do in the future. So really take it as that. There's no dumb questions at all. And I really just want to take it a step further for the people in this room. We're all investment professionals. We've helped clients achieve their financial goals, but most of us are actually lagging behind, right, when it comes to achieving those goals. So I think most of us probably even have a financial plan that can be described as we'll see month end. I've done that for a few years. So the question is, are we applying the same level of discipline, planning, and intentionality when it comes to our financial goals? And so it really is quite exciting that we all get to pause together and have a meaningful reflection on that. What makes this particularly exciting for me is our sponsorship with ABSIP Young Professionals. I know ABSIP from varsity. Actually, I was a student liaison officer at Wits, and Sfiso was a chairperson 2017, 2018. Yeah, and I haven't seen him since we served, so that's quite exciting. It's really so good to see you here. So I think really enjoy this event tonight. I'm not going to finish the speech. I'm probably over my time. Train our habits. But thank you to the speakers for your insights. We really are looking forward to them. I think the challenge and my invitation to all of you is walk away with at least one idea, one action, one commitment that will help get you closer to your financial goals. And I really hope you find that the event will encourage you to review your neglected budget, start that debit order. Doesn't have to be with us, but hey, let's get that financial plan going. In the industry, we have to also become the people that are getting the wealth that we're building for our clients, and that's really what the partnership is about. Enjoy. Bills paid. Thanks, Lou.
Hey, this music. Guys, Mureki has spoken. She says, let's develop a better plan than I'll see month end. So let's kick into the first part of today's session that'll introduce us into ways to actually put that into practice. So tonight's first speaker will speak to the theme of building and growing wealth. I'd like to introduce on stage Nokuhle Kumalo-Chamoto. She is a CA, an author, a personal finance educator, as well as founder and CEO of Lumako, which is apparently Kumalo, backwards, without the H. Yeah, we are smart. Lumako is an accounting and advisory firm supporting entrepreneurs and growing businesses. She has worked across South Africa, the United States, Australia, through her auditing and consulting career with Deloitte, gaining extensive exposure to businesses, finance, and entrepreneurship on a global scale. Nokuhle is extremely passionate about making finance accessible yet practical for everyday people like me and you. She is an Alan Gray Orbis Foundation Fellow, like I am. She was also recognized as one of the Mail and Guardian top 200 young South Africans in 2025, and she continues to empower individuals and businesses through her books, membership programs, where she acts as a mentor, but also digital community, which currently stands on YouTube at 150,000 subscribers. Hopefully tonight you'll have plus 90 to that number. This evening, though, she will share insights on how young professionals can intentionally build and grow their careers, their financial confidence, and ultimately their wealth. Ladies and gents, Nokuhle.
Good evening, guys. How are you? Oh, you guys don't sound good. So let me greet you in Zulu because it is ABSIP. You guys can respond in whatever language you speak. Sanbonani? Ninjani? Ay, nami ngiyaphila ma, ngiyaphila. Actually, funny story that you mentioned, the Lomako. So I knew that I was going to get married very, very soon. So I was like, let me name my company, my surname, so I can keep my surname in a discreet way. And my husband said, you're so dramatic. You know you can double barrel. So thank you to him. He's such a nice guy. Okay, so I have a quick talk, I hope. And I do have slides because I'm a visual learner. So when people talk, I do zone out. So if you're also zoning out, it's okay. I get you. But you can take pictures. You can do whatever, okay? This is your session. I did it with you in mind. And as Umziligazi has also said, I'm speaking to build and grow. And then my co-host will speak to the secure. Okay. You've gotten to know me a bit, so I won't go into all of this. But what wasn't mentioned in this very nice CV is that I am very family-oriented. So I love my family, and I love my husband. That includes my husband now. So when it comes to building wealth, that's usually my source of passion. It's why I do it. I've seen how great it is to shop for the people that I love. And I know that sometimes when you don't have money, your showing up is limited. So the more money I have, the more flexibility I have. And if I have flexibility, I can show up for the people I love. Okay. It might not sound nice right now, but I'll tell you why I'm defining why I want wealth. Okay, cool. Quick disclaimer, this session is for educational purposes and it's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I also don't know your life. So what's important to you might not be important to me. And also, I am not affiliated with Nedgroup, so I'm like the neutral party in the room. So even when we get to the second session, the fireside chat, hopefully I can be the neutral, the asking the hard questions that you guys are shy to ask. But it's also just so that you know that I am similar to you. I'm in the same position. I don't have all of this knowledge and all of these stats. My co-host is watching me because I just threw him under the bus. But it's okay. We'll do it together. And I'm really glad that we're all here because I think the biggest thing when it comes to learning about finance is communicating and sharing knowledge. Okay. Quick icebreaker. This one is a mental one, so don't tell me. But when you look at this screen, which 3 adjectives do you feel best describe you? We've got hopeful, in control, proud, overwhelmed, stressed, private, confident, grateful, and cautious. So pick your 3, and then you need to go investigate why those 3. But for this one, I would love us to raise our hands. Okay. So please raise your hand if you or people think that you're good with money just because you have a finance degree or potentially you work in the finance industry or you have certain things that show success or it's because of the societies you're part of, like ABSIP. So raise your hands. Nice. It's very awkward though. It's like when people say, oh, you're so smart. And you're like, no, I'm really not. I'm really not. You're so humble. Too. And then who of you believe you'll start investing when you earn more? Okay? You kind of need to eat today before you think about tomorrow. Hands up. So everyone else is investing. Are you sure? I'm going to ask Lindiwe to open phones when we exit here. I want to see. And then my last one is, how many of you set goals at the beginning of this year? Okay, and then keep your hand up if you reviewed them now at the beginning of July. Do you even remember what you said? You're lying. Okay. So the point is a lot of us have a lot of dreams. We have a lot of things we want to do. You set your goals. You're excited. New year, new me. I should have been at the gym every single day for having the 6-pack. But, you know, in reality, life happens. There's work. There's real life happening. So as much as you want to do it, it doesn't always seem like you can do it, and you push it out for later. But I'm telling you now, you're playing yourself the longer you take to start investing, the more you actually need to pour into investing. Like you need to spend more because you're now playing catch up. So today, if you don't remember anything that I say, just remember these 2 lessons. The first one is, if you struggle to save from a 100 Rand allowance, you will struggle to save from a 100,000 Rand monthly salary. And the second one is, when it comes to personal finance, and actually anything in life, but we're speaking about finance right now, first make it exist, and then make it perfect. Because you're trying to wait for the perfect time to enter the market. You want the perfect company. Yeah, Nedgroup might be selling you something, but I want to test and see other people. It's okay, we can all do research, but if you're still researching 6 months later, you've lost 6 months of growth. Now let's look into lesson 1. I sound like a teacher, and I wanted to be a teacher. But I had to make a smarter choice because I'm so smart and I'm going to speak to it. I should have gone into teaching, guys. I feel like I would have been a great teacher. But when it comes to money, the question is, who's meant to teach us about it? And then it's just an unanswered question. You're meant to learn at school. Your teachers are meant to teach you. Or no, you'll figure it out later. But then you kind of go through life and then you only figure it out around 45, 50, 55. But at that point, it's like, yeah, you know this, and now what? Now you're that aunt or uncle who's telling your nieces and nephews, hey, you must invest. And no one is listening to you because, you're telling her to invest. Where's your proof of investing? So you need to try and figure out what this whole thing is about sooner rather than later. At school, we all did EMS until grade 9. And they taught us the basics, compound interest, company versus sole proprietor, all those things, debits and credits. But at home, we were taught the behavioral side of things. And I think that's a really important aspect of money because most of you are finance professionals. Most of you know how to do a budget. You know how to add and subtract. You know in theory what investing is, so I don't need to teach you those, even though the book will teach you, okay? So I wrote the book so that even my mom could read it. But the point is, there's a lot of behavioral things that come with money, and we learn a lot of it from our childhood. We don't even know that we're learning, but you just see the way people move. For example, property is a must. You know the older generation, you had to have a house. If you didn't have a house, you're not a real adult. But nowadays, you need to ask yourself, why am I buying a house? Am I going to be in South Africa for the next 10 years? There's a lot of things you need to consider. Another thing is our parents. They always used to say, I don't have money. Even on payday, I don't have money. How? So when does this person have money? And then you also get used to it. And then when you're older, you realize, hey, actually, I understand. I got paid, but I don't have money. And I get it. So I'm not speaking from I'm an expert, I know everything. I once budgeted myself into a loss. And I was like, this is so stupid. I know I'm going to be broke before I've even spent the money, but do the budget anyways. And then another one is avoiding calls. So I'm very hesitant towards debt. I think I'm a recovering person when it comes to debt because I just saw too many people avoiding too many numbers. Don't answer it. I square it. So I was like, I don't want nonsense on my phone. I don't want people calling me now. I have to avoid. So when it comes to debt, I shy away. But I also know as a professional, you can use it as leverage. Okay, so there is nothing super bad in the world of finance. People just use it badly, and then those are the stories we hear. However, speaking about our parents, I do want to give them grace. They also didn't know everything. Okay, access to information wasn't like us. I feel like we've got too much information now. We have too much to consume, and then we have decision fatigue, so I also get it. But when I was writing my book, I was just so frustrated because every time I asked people, how do I make sure I build wealth? How do I make sure that I'm doing the right thing? And I got too many different responses. Oh no, just save. I know you'll figure it out. Hey, just pray. And I was like, no, surely there has to be something a lot more tangible. So I've tried. I'm not saying it's a perfect book, but I've really tried to synthesize what's happening currently. And I'm young, guys. I'm a young professional like you guys. So I've also received a bit of pushback because you're such a young person. How can you write a book? And also, are you really that wealthy that you can write a book? But the thing is, I've asked the questions. I've asked multiple people across multiple generations. I've also gone through my own things. And I'm also not writing a book out of nostalgia. If I were to write a book 50 years from now, I'll talk about, oh, I should have gone into crypto. Oh, I should have bought a house in 2008 when I was doing grade 7. You know, I could write it like that and talk about all the things I should have done. But I'm writing a book about right now, what's happening. People are unemployed, so there's also that. You're earning a salary, but you also need to remember that other people are not. So you're grateful, you must help, but also how do I help myself? So you'll read it, and even in the book, there's things that I talk about our parents. So there's things you should change and things you should keep the same. So don't try to recreate the wheel, because there's no need. Quick story. My time is running out, so I'm also going to try spin it, but I won't be too long. We have a chat afterwards. But in terms of building financial habits, so when I was in primary, my dad used to give us pocket money on a Thursday, and that's because we had market day on a Thursday. Tuck shop was open every single day, but e-market day was on Thursday, and I think my dad knew that that was a social event for us as kids. He'd give me the money on Thursday, great, I'm buying, but the problem is it's Thursday, Friday, then it's the weekend. So I had 2 days to spend the money, and then the weekend was just a mess because my cousins and I were always meeting up, which means we're going to the tuck shop, we're all buying things. Come Monday, I'm broke. Now I have to go Monday to Wednesday, angna mali, there is no money. I asked my dad, Baba, please can I get my money on a Monday? I'll manage it better because if it's Monday, I can split it across the 5 days and I'll have money every single day. You know, I thought I was presenting a decent chat. My dad said, my girl, whether you get it Thursday or Monday, there's still 5 days in a week for school. So, hurt my heart because I thought we were best friends. But I clearly didn't learn this lesson early enough because into varsity, I had the same problem. I get my pocket money from my parents, from my scholarship, and from my side hustle, all on different days. And I felt like I've got so much money when I budget on the total. But where is it? Trickled into articles. I'm doing my budget. It's like, yeah, I'm going to have this amount. And you know what? I'm doing better than other trainees. It's okay. I've got a side hustle. I've got travel claims. I had very long-distance clients, and I love driving. But the thing is, when I look at my bank account, where is the money? So I stopped budgeting from a total income, which is what we usually do. You just do that one-page thing. Now I pull up a calendar, and I put money coming in on this day. So it's usually the 15th, it's the 25th, and the 1st. So I know, okay, cool. If I have expenses, they must hit very close to this thing. And then I'm also able to predict what my bank balance will be on every single day. It helps me manage my bank balance. When I see 20 Rand, I'm like, it's okay, 2 days. I'm getting more. So even with you need to challenge some of the things that you're so used to, okay? Just because you grew up with it, just because that's what you've been doing, doesn't mean it's the right thing to do or it's the right thing for you. So take time and ask yourself, what do I want? What don't I really appreciate? And then adjust accordingly. Second thing, when it comes to personal finance, first make it exist, then make it perfect. What does wealth mean to you? Does anyone want to give us an answer, actually? Okay, yes?
So for me, wealth means being able to create something that starts with you and be able to sustain it and grow it so that generations you'll never meet will benefit from it.
Okay, did you guys hear that? Okay, and then can I please take yours off?
One word, freedom.
Freedom, okay. Okay. Different answers, the same, but different. I'm pulling more towards you in terms of my definition, but I know my husband is also pulling towards you, so we all are different. So you know how to define it from a corporate finance perspective. You also know from sitting on cash in your bank account. But as you have said, generational wealth. A lot of people love that. Having enough money. Some people also want to retire early. but I think you guys are just burnt out from work. Because retire early and do what? You watch our vlogs. So when you're thinking about your personal finance journey, I hope it's something that's really personal, something that you really believe in. Because if you're just saying it because it sounds good or other people are saying you should do it, when it's time to actually do the hard work of putting the money away, you'll struggle. I know I'm running over. I'm almost done. 2 minutes. I promise. And when you're doing this, when you're building your wealth, stop trying to do it in one way. You need to do multiple things, multiple efforts, but also don't do too much. I was at a conference last week, and one of the speakers said something so nice. They were like, when it comes to your wealth, you must do an attack and a defense strategy. So I think a lot of us want to do attack. You want to invest, you want to save, you want to make more money, you want to have a high income, which is really great. But it's not just about attack, it's also defense, which Wongani will speak more to, which is like your insurance and stuff. But the analogy was, even in a football game, if you attack early enough, then you play the rest of the game in defense, you can still win the game. So you need to try and find a balance. Our parents, on the other hand, they loved defending. Funeral policies galore. No comment, I'm a patriotic person, I love Bafana, so no rudeness to Bafana. But your goal is to help your money make you more money. You can make money right now, but what happens if something happens to you? What happens when you grow old? So you need to help your money make you more money. And thank you so much, guys. Yeah, so we'll chat further, but I also do want to say that when you are browsing the book or buying it, because we have an exclusive books guy out there, don't think it'll give you a plan. It's not 100% perfect, but it will give you enough questions for you to speak to your finance professionals and ask the hard questions, but also go in there with the plan, because when you know what you want, they can help you better. Because if you say you just want to be wealthy, what does it mean? Do you want properties? Do you want cars? Do you want assets? So read it, but also even if you don't read this, do your research, learn more about money, and I can't wait to meet you guys in the winner's circle. Okay? Thank you so much.
That's it, DJ. We're getting somewhere. Guys, Nokuhle has spoken to a lot of things, and some of it might sound overwhelming, and some of it might sound like it's not practical yet. We will have a lot more time during Q&A, during the fireside chat, to drill down deeper. Can I challenge you to do something practical? Can we please send ourselves a message on WhatsApp? Please open your phones. This is probably the one time where learning and having your phone in hand is good. On WhatsApp, send yourself a message. Have 3 lines that say build, grow, secure, so that as you listen to the speakers, you take one thing and you write that next to the theme. So Nokuhle has spoken so much on build and grow. On building, she's spoken about the money habits that we've built over time and some of the things that we need to relook. When I think back to when I started, and it wasn't that far back, it was 13 years ago in the industry, I thought, I've made it. I want to buy the best clothes, the best weaves. I want to buy a nice car. I want it all now. But I realized actually that you can wait. After you saw the few items that you saw at Zara or at H&M, you can wait for the sale. You can wait for the sale. You can also wait until you work for a bank, hopefully one day, to buy the car of your dreams, to buy the home of your dreams, because the staff rates are ridiculously insane. So there is something about delayed gratification. And I think that's the thing that a lot of us are missing when we start out in our careers. So think about the areas that you suffer most. The areas that you know, when you get that salary, what is the first thing you want to do and you know it's not the right thing to do? That's the thing you need to really stress test yourself around. What do I need to do to actually delay the gratification of getting this thing? How can I actually stretch my money further, but still get the thing, but still invest in my future? Then there is the aspect of grow. So she had the defense strategy and the attack strategy on that remember slide where she had all of those bubbles. Those are all great, but you need to just choose one thing to start with. So on the insurer bubble, which was at the bottom, sorry, can we go back to that slide? Or is it a clicker? Is it a clicker? Oh, thank you. That one. I want to make this practical a little bit. So on Defend, you guys can see that a lot of your group benefits, wherever you work, is actually addressed there. That's where you've got your income cover, you've got your insurance policies. So all of that is kind of addressed. But where we actually lack is the attack strategy. And so when you think about how do you grow yourself as you grow your income into proper investment strategies so that you can get to that secure future you want, you need to look at what investment strategies speak to me. And without trying to walk on Bongani's toes as he's preparing for his talk now, you need to understand the major differences in the investment industry from a product perspective, because different products speak to different objectives and different tax regimes and different withdrawal allowances. If he doesn't touch on that in his talk, I'll go into it a little bit so that we leave with one thing that we can write under grow. So that's your takeaway. That's your practical strategy in helping you get to your financial future. Are we all together? Yes. Cool. So we've got one more theme to talk to, which is secure. Very excited to probably introduce the coolest lawyer in the house. You'll see I'm very overdressed to be introducing him, but he is our speaker today for Secure. Bongani Sibanyoni is the executive head of CIB Compliance and Governance at Nedbank. He's also an admitted attorney with over 17 years across legal, advocacy, regulatory, and compliance disciplines. His professional journey includes roles at the South African Human Rights Commission, ENS Africa, and Nedbank, where he has developed deep expertise in governance, ethics, regulation, and leadership. But outside this whole seriousness, Bongani is widely recognized as a political and legal commentator, as a governance advocate. He also loves serving as the chairperson of Umlambo Foundation, but he's also started his own entity or NGO in #Country Duty, an initiative focused on advocating for social justice, economic justice, and community upliftment across Africa. He holds a law degree from WITS, a few executive management qualifications from Gibbs and UNISA, and he has furthered his studies in sustainability and transformative justice as well. This evening, though, Bulelani will help us think about what it truly means to secure our futures, not only financially, but through sound decision-making, responsible leadership, and purposeful action for Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, a Nedbank applause for Bongani Sibanyoni as he comes on stage.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. So I'm the old guy in the room, so I'm using a piece of paper, as you can see. I do not have slides and all of that good stuff that other people have. I will also do my own disclaimers before we get into some of the stuff that I'm going to speak about. But before I go to a disclaimer, firstly, let me say thank you for your bravery. You are listening to a compliance officer telling you about finance, so you are very brave. Secondly, my partner is in the room, so I don't know how much I've told her about how much money I have or I don't have, so I'm very careful about what I'm going to say, because when we go back home, I do not want to be getting looks. So I will think very methodically about my conversation with you today. But thank you for being here. It's actually wonderful seeing you here and not at Madlanga Commission. That means you are making the right choices every day, and hopefully you continue to do so as you build your financial well-being. So I've been asked to speak about the secure aspect. I'm going to I'm gonna give it a try, but I'm going to build on the momentum that has been created on the other two aspects. The first one being the build or protect aspect. So I think as young professionals, if you think about the first aspect, which is the build or protect, the greatest assets that we have, or the greatest asset, in my opinion, that you have is your future earning potential. It's not what you earn now, it's what you could earn in the future. That's your greatest asset to start thinking about how you're going to build your wealth. So how can you protect that asset? I venture to say you need to invest on yourself. You need to invest on your education. You need to invest on rare and scarce skills because you are preparing yourself for a world that's unknown. You are preparing yourself for a world that has AI that can replace you today when we leave here. There could be a new model from cloud that takes your job. So you need to invest on scarce skills. You need to invest on yourself. You need to venture into your inner being to do things for yourself. Before you think about all of the money that we're talking about here, that's how you start protecting your future earning capability, because it can be taken away from you. So that's the first thing, is how do you protect? That's how you protect it. So I have lots of stories, but I don't have enough time. So one of the things when I started working many years ago that really helped me to start building what I think is my wealth, please don't listen, is circumstances forced it on me. And it was tragic circumstances that forced it. But I was working at ENS at the time, and I'd lost my brother, and I had 4 kids that I had to take over, and so forth and so on. I was doing articles. Now, in articles, you are not guaranteed that you're gonna, get the articles at the end of the day. I remember driving back from home, from the funeral, and I was like, shucks, what now? I have like 4 kids that I've just inherited. I'm a young person, what am I gonna do? First thing I got back to work, spoke to a friend of mine whose father was a financial advisor. I said, let's sit down because shit has hit the fan, and I need people to work with me now to build this thing for the future generation, which is the secure aspect. But that was the small part of it. The biggest part of it was me saying to myself, okay, I'm not guaranteed to be retained here, but what are the things that are within my own hands that I can do to give myself every opportunity such that I can get retained here so I can protect the salary that I currently have? And that was, I'm the first chap in the office every morning. I'm the last chap to leave the office. When we go partying, I'm the first one and I'm the last one, and I drink all the alcohol. And we have fun with the partners and so forth. So there's legendary stories at ENS about the things that we did. But that was within my own capability. That's how I protected myself, and I got retained, and it was fun, and it was amazing, and I earned lots of money from it, and so forth. But those are some of the things that are within your own power. Again, to the point that I made earlier, you don't know if AI is going to take your job, so what are you doing about it today? So that you can protect the one thing that can help you build a wealth, unless you have other side hustles. Your salary is the one thing, so how do you protect that, right? So think about that. So that's the first aspect of my talk, I think. The second one is just a bit on grow and preserve. If you've protected it, so now you've been retained, you have your articles, what do you do? Most of us, to some of the conversations that we had earlier, is, my first car, my first this, my first cat, my first dog, my first parrot, and all of that stuff that we start buying, right? So you start accumulating all of these things for whatever reasons, societal pressure and so forth and so on. So you have these inflationary lifestyle creeps that happens. So instead of so you've protected, you have the salary, you kind of have a good job, but what do? You start spending like there's no tomorrow. You buy all these nice things, which is fine if you think you're going to die tomorrow, I suppose. But if you're looking to live for a very long time, you must remember that you're running your own race. right? You're not in this with your friends or your colleagues or your family and so forth. So it's so important that you don't allow the inflationary life creeps to step in and steal the thing that you've just protected. Because imagine what you're doing when you're spending and spending and spending is you're making somebody else build their wealth while yours is slowly shredding away. So every month when the money comes in, you give it to this person and that person and that person at this shop and that shop and that shop and that garage. Right? So somebody else is building their wealth while you're living from day one to month end. So you don't allow this inflationary lifestyle creeps to take over and destroy what you are trying to build. Right? So it's so important to watch for that. And I'm not against marriage or any of that stuff. And then, you start having kids, you start getting married, you have that joint bond. It's like, what's spend and shit? That's all you're doing. Money is coming out. Weddings are expensive, but you've saved that 500,000, boom, it's gone. Imagine what you can do in a good investment account with Nedgroup Investment for 500,000. Oh my God. But no, you chose to get married, so it's fine. So think about these choices that we make. But these are choices that we make. Of course, you cannot get married. I mean, you can go to the magistrate court. I think it's free. The point I'm trying to make is if all we are doing is the money comes in and it goes out, you will never be able to create wealth, unfortunately. So every decision that you make, you must think about what are you preserving for your future self, right? Because, medicine is advanced these days, so we live longer. Hopefully AI is going to help us to cure more diseases. So if you live until you're 100, then what's going to happen? If you're not saving for your 100-year self. So what are the choices and the decisions that you need to make today to secure for your 100-year self? And if you've secured for your 100-year self, because real wealth really is about the ability to pass it on to others. We're not just building for ourselves. If you think about this country and where we come from, there are many struggles that never saw democracy. They sacrificed so that we could have places like this. We could come speak to each other and have these conversations in a place like this in Sandton. They never got to experience it. Right? You remember those of you that do still study history, what Solomon Mahlangu said when they were hanging him. His blood will water the trees that will provide shade for us when he's not there. So it was never about just him, just like it's never about just you. It's about the kids that you're going to have. It's about the future generations that are coming. So imagine you are unable to build for yourself so you can provide the advice, the knowledge to the next generation. So securing is not just about securing for yourself, it's for securing even for the next generations. So the discussions we're having today, the conversations that we're going to have when we mingle there, is how do you pass them on, not just to the people that are here, the people that are still coming. So that's why securing the investments that you need to secure, the long-term mindset that you need to have. Don't just think about yourself, because what is wealth if it dies with you? You haven't created any wealth. You've just had a life. If it dies with you, that's all you've had. Well, hopefully you've had a good life, but you've just had a life. But if you can leave something for the next generations, when they come, to be able to benefit from the good choices that you have made, that is what I call securing, and I thank you.
Guys, did you not feel like if you could just close your eyes while Bongani is speaking, that he sounds like an old, grey grandpa with so much wisdom? Bongani and Nokuhle, please can you join me on stage as we prepare for the fireside chat? Please get the chairs on stage as well. The formal presentation speeches have been concluded. We are now opening up our fireside chat, which I think is probably the most exciting part. So please, as you listen to the first few questions, know that we will open up the floor for you to ask questions. Don't forget that message that you are going to send yourself by the end of tonight with your promise around the one thing you'll do to build, grow, and secure your financial future. So I'll kick off with Nokuhle. I need more from you
Okay.
around what exactly you think from a build and grow perspective you've done right. 2 practical strategies that you've used to really start your journey on growing your money. One caveat or one other thing to note is that a lot of people have made money mistakes through love. And some of us are in the room. And the mistakes might be frivolous, others are really expensive. From loaning partners money to getting married to the wrong person, then it's a very expensive divorce. So through your single life, what worked? And through your now married life, what's working?
I love this question. Okay. So from my single life, I think one of the best things I did for myself was starting to invest before I even understood what investing was. I think in first year of university, my dad kept telling me, you must invest. And I was just like, oh my word, eye roll. What am I going to do? I don't even get that much money. But I opened up a unit trust. Didn't truly understand what it was. It was 250 Rand, which might not seem like a lot to you guys, but I was a student. It was a lot of money. But I was also like, the alternative is that I'm going to spend it on Long Street anyways. So I was like, okay, cool. So that I feel better buying a cocktail, let me also just put 250. And I automated that. I think that was also a key thing. So it went off like a debit order, like a Netflix subscription. I didn't really think about it. And I forgot. I truly forgot that I invested until I had to start my new job in 2020 and I had to move into a new place. There was a deposit. I needed furniture. And guys, there's so much pressure. People have really nice apartments. So I was like, oh, how am I going to do all of this? And then I was like, oh my word, I actually have money. I logged in, I checked it. I hadn't checked it maybe in a year and a half, so I'd forgotten about it, but I knew it was there. And when I saw the balance, I was like, ha, where ma? 250 has accumulated to this. But the thing that happens here when you start this journey is that you think you're saving for a goal, and then when you reach the goal, it's like, do I really want to waste my money like this? So I didn't touch it. I took over a year to finish my apartment, and even till this day, I feel like I'm still finishing my apartment, and it's okay, I'm taking my time. But I really am glad that I put that money away. I didn't understand what it was, but now I know what it is, and I'm more of an aggressive investor too. So yes, there's a unit trust where someone else is handling it, I'm just, but now I'm also like, I want this ETF, or I want this unit, So I'm glad I did that. From a money perspective, I love love. We were talking about love at that table. But the one thing that I'm glad I did is I spoke about money. So I'm not very shy when it comes to money. I feel like there's a lot that goes unsaid and then it becomes an issue later on. So I speak about money. Even on dates, people might say, oh, girl, don't do that. But if I went on a date when I was still sussing things out, I'd pay for my portion. I don't know if we're going to last. And the last thing I want is someone to say, oh, I made you. I knew I was going fast. So I didn't want too many people saying, that Han. I once bought her dinner. So, it took me a very long time to actually accept money and not be like, okay, they bought me this. I need to buy them this quickly so that we cancel the scale. But also, I kept finance things separate, okay? You focus and you build. I'm focusing and I'm building. Now that we're married, of course, now we can integrate. Now we can, build towards the same thing. And when it comes to weddings are very expensive, as Bongani said. And we knew this. And my lobola was also a bit of a big thing itself. So when we went into it, we set a budget. We were like, okay, this is how much we can do, this is how much we can afford. And we both come from big, dramatic families, and they all wanted big things. And we're like, it's okay, you can bring your opinions, but also put money. If you're not going to give us money, you write your opinion. And safe to say, hey, they showed up. And the money I spent, I got it back in gifts because we said, no registry, just give us money. We're not going to fly with kettles. We got married, we were 28 and 32. We already had kettles and pots and all of that. Just give us the money. So I think being confident in your stance when it comes to money. Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Just to test the audience a bit, do we know the difference between a tax-free, an endowment, and a unit trust? Okay, there's a couple of no's, so just a quick drill down for the no's. The tax-free account is obviously a product that was launched in 2015 by National Treasury to make sure that at least every South African has an opportunity to invest and grow their contributions literally tax-free. So when you start your investment journey, when you start the attack strategy of getting to your long-term wealth, you need to start with the tax-free. They've also extended the annual limits more recently because people are starting to really engage with investment products through tax-free investments. So it's working, and if you are walking out of this room without a tax-free account, please tomorrow morning do something. Doesn't have to be with Nedgroup, doesn't have to be with Nedbank, but do it for yourself. The next one is, once you have maxed your contributions, your annual contributions, remember we're talking about we're growing our careers, we're building our careers over time, you will get to a place where you can annually almost invest all of it in your bonus as a lump sum. What do you do then on a debit order automated basis to grow your wealth a lot further? When you get to a place where your payee marginal tax rate is actually above 30%, you shouldn't be investing in a unit trust account. You should be investing in an endowment account, because there you'll be taxed at 30% max, no matter what your withdrawals actually are. Whereas if you're investing in a unit trust, you'll be taxed at your marginal tax rate, which could be as high as 45%. So one way of ensuring that you're protecting your growth strategy is to ensure that you're using the tax-efficient structures as you think about your investment journey. Are we good? Your note earlier about love and money. Can I just throw my 2 cents worth? Mm-hmm. So I will do it anyway. I got married in 2018. And by 2019, I was on my way to the divorce lawyer. And much like you, lobola costed a lot, the weddings costed a lot, probably in the region of 250K. And I think now when I look back, if I had invested that money, the divorce alone, which lasted 18 months for a 12-month-long marriage, was 180K, which all came from my bonuses. So when we are thinking about love, we need to think practically and rationally. As Nokuhle has said, have the audacious conversations. Ask him how, or her, or they, how they think about budgeting. What do they feel when you say to them money? What words come to life? Because it's really very telling of how they grew up in their households. Mm-hmm. And remember, when we marry someone, we don't just marry their heart because we love them. We marry all of the things that go on in their head. And some of the things you can't compete with because it's so ingrained in who they are. And so it's a much better money strategy to find out from them proactively, even on the first date. I like that. What's your budgeting like? How disciplined are you? What are the money areas that you still need to work on? Why are you unable to close those bridges now? And then most importantly, when you get to the place where you are thinking about getting married, it's about having a simulated marriage budget. Because that's the hard and fast way to find out what is their thoughts about money management between husband and wife. What are their values around the gender roles in a household? What are yours? But also 10 years later into that marriage, how does that marriage budget change? Because remember, in 10 years, you'll have children. Some of them, you might want to take them overseas in terms of the university or their high school. That changes how you actually look at your budget. And so when you can have a conversation up front, it enables you to go forward, but also come back here. Because what it helps you understand is that we can't buy 5 million rand house just because we're married, because we one day want our children to go overseas for their university career. And so that enables you to align right now. When you can't align, you know it's not going to work out. So avoid yourself that drama, have the budgeting conversation, both about who you are now, what you think you'll be like in a marriage, but 10 years into the marriage as well. Got it?
I want to add my 2 cents. Sorry. I know you've spoken about how much your divorce costed. I was writing this book leading up to my wedding, and the book does have a how much does divorce cost, and I feel like you were slightly on the lower end. It gets worse. So you really do need to make sure that you're sure. Yeah, but at least you're out.
And guys, this is actually a money strategy. So this is not a real wedding ring. I just don't want problems. Okay. So let's shift the conversation to Bongani. Bongani, I love how you spoke about your brother's passing in such a practical way, and that he passed away with 4 kids that you then needed to look after. Because I think it's a lesson about how do we secure our futures, but also how do we talk about securing our futures through the eyes of our siblings whose children will look after should anything happen to them, but also to our parents as they prepare for retirement or even for their own inevitable passing. So my question to you is, why are you so scared of marriage?
Because of everything you've said just now.
Your process of taking over your brother's children, what lessons did you learn there that you wish you would have told him while he was alive? But also, what lessons did you learn for yourself as you prepare for your own family journey?
Funny enough, I actually think he's the one that taught me lessons. Because my brother was a security guard, right? Not the formal one. You know, the guys that look after our cars that we give 5 rands to. He was that guy. He was raising kids with that money, by the way. And the amazing thing when he passed away is I was looking up, as a lawyer, I had to look after his estate and so forth. And I was amazed about how much this guy was saving. I was like, where the hell? How the hell? With that beginning money, you are saving so much, right? But he had already been thinking about his children, right? So for me, the lesson was, with so little, you can do so much. If you are thinking about others, not just yourself. So I said to myself, he can do it with so little. Gosh, I'm probably going to be a millionaire one day, because I'm already so far ahead compared to where he was, and he was doing amazing things. So this is not a difficult thing to do, right? So it was him who taught me, actually. It was not the other way around, I think. But to transition to having to look after the kids, of course, you wake up one day, you're a father of 4. No one prepares you for that. But life does prepare us for many things unbeknownst to us. And for me, it was a joy because, they were my nephews and nieces, right? So it was not something that was out of the ordinary. I had a good job. I was building towards a good job. I had a secured future in my head. Because I was working hard. I thought, if you work hard these days, you are going to make it. Thank God I did. And it was stepping in just a bit differently, an elevated role to look after the kids, but thinking about their future, right? The schooling. Because that was the one gift that he asked me before he passed away, make sure they go to school. Whatever happens, they need to get an education. So we start thinking about how do I invest for their education, but not just invest for their education, how do I make sure they're disciplined enough to be able to do well and to progress in life. So you step into those roles now as a father. The responsibility is not just cash. It's not about putting money into something. You need to be responsible for the philosophy of how they grow up, from an ethics, integrity, how they show up in places, how you teach them leadership, but you're teaching yourself as well as you do that, because you're being given this responsibility, which is a gift, but it also teaches you to invest for long term, right? So that's where my philosophy to invest for the future that's unknown started from. that you do not know what's going to happen, but you know if you do it well and you are lucky enough and your God and your ancestors are with you, something wonderful is going to happen. And that's, I think, for me, those were the lessons and the transition from just being an uncle to being a father, which has been a wonderful journey.
That's so inspirational. That's very inspirational, and I think I'm reflecting back on your bubbles slide, which I love so much because it summarizes so much. Some of what also I've seen through my work in financial education help a lot of people is how people can creatively use insurance policies, which was part of the defend. Because for some people who can't afford to put away a lot of their salary into investment strategies, they actually use policies.
Yeah.
As another engine to securing the future of their children and the people they'll leave behind. Obviously, there are a lot of financial advisors, wealth managers, etc., that can walk you through that. But if you do need help in understanding some of those, please chat to us. We'll link you up with someone. But I've seen through even my own mother's journey. She passed away about 4 months ago. And she used to listen to a lot of my financial education talks that I'll do on radio, etc. And it was so beautiful to see that when it actually came to it, she actually listened. She had beautiful final expenses policies, which basically pay out within the same day that you actually claim, as long as you've got the death certificate. Then you've got life policies that take a bit longer to pay out because it's bigger amounts. But as we know, when it comes to like memorial services and things like that, you need money now. You need to start paying service providers to prepare for the funeral service itself. So that final expenses can differ anything between 20 to 100,000. You need something like that. If any of the family members don't have it, please ensure that they set it up. Like I said, there's life policies that can pay out to specific beneficiaries. It could be us in the room, if it's our parents or, our siblings, when they know that we're going to take care of their children, or they want to leave something behind for us. But also you can pay it out to your estate as well. So that way, because if you've got a house, you've got a car, you've got some of the things that you might still owe debt to. Something needs to pay for that when you die.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you think you're leaving behind a house for your children, but that house is still indebted. It actually doesn't, the title deed doesn't say you, it says Nedbank. So you're going to need a cash flow to actually help to settle the debt so that they can actually retain the asset.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to do is, when you can no longer do anything, assume you've left the best for the people that you love, and actually it doesn't play out that way. It also obviously helps with wrapping up your estate, paying any other debts that you may have, or loans or overdrafts and things like that. But what I did learn is that for some people, they're smart enough to sell off their assets before they pass on, if you've got the pleasure or honor of having a few days or some time before your inevitable passing, so that when you do actually pass away, you're insolvent. So that's what some people actually do. I'm not saying it's a good strategy, but it's a strategy that some people are using. Of course, you need to have people that you trust that will take over the money that is then lifted from the proceeds of the sale. Then there's a conversation around trusts. I'm sure we know the difference between inter vivos and testamentary trusts. Inter vivos is one you can set up while you're alive. So say you've built up enough assets and wealth that you're like, actually, I don't want the growth to be in my name, or I'm married and I don't want those assets to be in my name. I want to protect it from the marriage. Or you run a company or some entrepreneurial endeavor, and you don't want any of your people that you owe through your company to be able to claim through the assets that you own in your name. So that's an inter vivos trust. The testamentary trust is set up the day you die. And that is specifically when you've got a case where, for example, your brother's lucky he had a responsible brother like you that will then take care of his children. So I can't imagine that he had a testamentary trust, but look where his children are at today. Yeah. Not all of us have siblings like that. Not all of us have partners who will look after the children we came into marriages with. So a testamentary trust becomes a tool in which you can actually rule in the grave and ensure that the people that you love are actually serviced in the way that you can.
You can be a good ancestor.
You can be a good ancestor. So guys, a lot of the products we are talking about sound scary until you start making their benefits practical, until you start mapping out what is my end goal, what is the wealth number I want to have at the end of my life. How do I actually transition that from my name to the name of my beneficiaries in a way that is tax efficient, right? And then you start opening up yourself to understanding the different products that are in the financial services sector and understand the power in which they enable you to do exactly that. But again, like I said, if it is a little bit overwhelming, there are people that can help for you to understand. And of course, we're not saying have all the products all at once, because again, we're still young. We are building our capacity to do so one day. But at least, like I said, have something that you take away in each of those subcategories of build, grow, and secure. Bongani, last question on my end before we open up to everyone. We had a very good chat 2 days ago in the office. And we're talking about some of the challenges that face South Africans and Africans. You spoke a lot about what you drive within the bank to actually help solve some of those problems. Can you unpack some of that and make it practical and around what Nedbank is doing to help entrepreneurs really thrive? But also, I'm asking this question because a lot of people in the room will say, but I don't even earn enough to do all of the things that you guys are saying. I'm actually feeling overwhelmed now. And so one of the answers is, of course, to extend your earnings potential by having more than one income. And so some of the solutions you'll talk about speaks exactly to that.
Yeah, so I mean, if you work for a big corporate like Nedbank, you are fortunate to have the ability to use the might of the corporate to help your people. So that's one of my life's missions, is I want to use all of this capability to help people, right? And you don't have to ask for permission to help people, right? You can help people on the streets when you leave now. No one needs to give you permission. But it comes with people need to trust you. They need to still know that you're going to do the job that they've hired you to do, so they can allow you to do the other things. So one of the things that I run in the bank, it's called, there's a program we call National Contributor, and we run a number of aspects. There's a number of aspects to it, but one of the main ones is how we help entrepreneurs, like up-and-coming, young, dynamic entrepreneurs that work in or are solving community problems. So we work with people who identify a problem in society. They come up with a wonderful solution, but they do not have the financial backing to be able to drive the solution to its full sustenance. So we identify those entrepreneurs through various ways, and we don't just give them money. I said earlier, it's, you can throw money at things, like I could have thrown money at the kids who would have gone buy tea or drugs. So you need to be able to use the money as a catalyst, but it's not enough. So what we do, we use the might of this bank. We have experts in this bank everywhere, right, that can assist small businesses that do not have the same capacity that we do. If you think about it, if you run a small business, you probably don't have HR, you don't have legal, you don't have compliance, you don't have marketing, you don't have any of those things. You don't have public relations and so forth and so on. But we do in this big corporate. So what do? We say, we will volunteer our people that are experts in this field to be able to help you with all of those capacity assets that you need to move your business forward. All right? So that's our employees taking their time. Of course, they still need to make their budget, but they take their time, they invest their time in these businesses to help them create new ecosystems that are solving community problems. Back from where we come from, whether it's a water problem. I'll give you one example. There's a young gentleman that I discovered a few years ago, but 3-4 years ago, Murandeni. He purifies water using the shells of macadamia nuts, right? So he's a scientist. He studied at Wits where I studied.
All right. All right, Bongan.
Oh, the edge has entered the building.
So no, this is about Murandeni. It's not about Wits. So Murandeni, so he uses this technology, right? He takes dirty water, right? And he uses this technology to purify the water to drinkable water. And I met him through other associates externally, and he had come to the bank before to ask for funding, and we're like, you know, we don't understand your technology, blah, blah, blah. I sat with him, went to his factory. I was like, no, I know what you're trying to solve for. I might not understand the technology, but water is life. And people are dying in Hammaskral because of the cholera and the failure of government. So if we can do something about it, I will speak your language when we get to the bank, but I will translate it into what the bankers understand to be a bankable project, right? Morandeni now employs 300 people in 3 years. Right? And he delivers clean water all over the country. He's developed his own solar technology, right? Because somebody believed in him. When the system didn't, he met somebody that comes from where he comes from, who also understands that we don't have water in those places. He's gone as far as almost winning an international competition to deliver water overseas to other countries. Unfortunately, we came number 2 on that thing. But that's the power of connections, right? That's the power of knowing that what I'm doing, it's not for myself, it's for the hundreds of South Africans that now have clean water. Because we met, we connected, we were able to build a bridge between what he does and what the bank does, and people are drinking good water. The cholera thing, he has lots of tanks, by the way, in Hammaskral. That was one of the core focus areas I asked him to look after, because people were dying, right? So that is the amazing power of what a big organization. If it believes in you and you believe in it, you can translate this organization into a vehicle that is actually helping your people.
I think that's such a beautiful example of how, when we are thinking about ensuring that South Africa and the greater African continent becomes more sustainable, that we're actually creating opportunities for employment so that even those employees can start their own wealth creation journey. At that point, I'd like to open up to the audience. Any questions? Can we take the first 3? I see there's one there and one there in the middle. Do we have one more?
We have 2 online. So
oh, there's online.
this side to this side.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you so much for the 2 presentations. I really do enjoy them. My name is Nokuhle Kumalo-Chamoto CA. I am from the National Treasury. So I have two questions, one for Nokuhle and another one for Bongani. So I'll start with Nokuhle. In your slides, you tell us to grow your money, but what about generational access? And should financial institutions such as Nedgroup be doing more to fund black-owned funds instead of them selling us theirs? And to Bongani, you repeatedly mentioned the role of AI in your workplace and how it could take over some jobs. So with the AI layoffs and the rise in contract jobs, is the old secure, as mentioned in the theme, the whole secure playbook outdated? And how do we go about fixing it from now on? Thanks.
I'll go first. Thank you so much, Mr. Modise. So, love that question, but also I feel like Bongani has also spoken to it a bit. However, I hear you, and that's probably one of my real core focuses when I go into business. So I would have loved to have stayed at my corporate job and just been a corporate girly. Like, it's nice, and I was kind of good at it, so it could have been great. But I discovered that there was an issue where personal finance wasn't accessible to people. And yes, you can go to a bank and speak to a person there who's explaining these products, but you might be intimidated, you know, like, oh my word, all of these big terms, like there's a lot going on, but also you feel the pressure to now sign up for something. So I think creating explainer videos on YouTube, which is where I started, was to try and bridge that gap. But also, as much as we can expect big corporates to do something, we also need to take responsibility. So as much as you're on TikTok, you're on socials and all of that, make sure your algorithm speaks to your dreams. If you're only seeing the things you want to buy, but it's not really showing you about building wealth, it's like you're hoping that it magically comes to you. But also, it's really important to take the little that you think you have and send it back to your family. So you mentioned something about your mom and her listening. My mom didn't initially subscribe to my channel. She said, "Hey, Sissy, voice yakho." So, and my mom is very into things. She used to watch Mihlali. She loves Mihlali. But when I wrote the book, I told you guys earlier, I wrote it with my mom in mind. My mom's a healthcare practitioner. She's really good, and she knows how to make money, but she doesn't know what to do with it afterwards. My dad, on the other hand, he may not have had the highest salary. He was a good earner as well, but he had multiple streams of income. So on a surface level, yes, my dad is way more successful, but it wasn't because of the job. It was just because he knew how to spread his assets. So even with us, we need to take it back. Our parents act like they know everything. They don't. I got the shock of my life when I did a video about wills many years ago, and I said it's very irresponsible to not have a will, because I'd experienced someone in my family dying recently, and there was a lot of drama. And my dad said, "Are you acting me?" I was like, "Oh, no, you really?" You know, for someone who invested in so many things. So also teach them. So take on that responsibility. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be rich. I know you guys don't want to teach people, then they say, "Okay, Visi, account so that we see that this thing is working." But try it out. I hope I've answered you. But also, back to what Bongani was saying, I went into business because I'd found a problem of the personal finance thing and all of that. But as I was in business, there were so many frustrations I was going through. And I was a chartered accountant, so it was like, I should know this. I really should know how this works. I really should have picked this up. And I was like, if I'm going through so much hassle, and I'm going to do it because ethically I have to. I studied 7 years and all of that. I wasn't going to throw away my designation because I don't want to register with Department of Labor. But other entrepreneurs don't know what to do. So I try speak in that language. I try speak to them. I'm like, listen, even with my nail tech, love her so much, but when she wanted to move, she's like, I can't prove my income, but she makes a lot of money. I was like, let's try formalize this thing. I'm not going to scare you with the big things, but let's try formalize it so that they can see that actually you are earning a lot of money. You can even qualify for a house later on, because as a business owner, it's great because you're trying to help solve a problem, but it hurts you individually because your peers just submit 3 months bank statements and payslips. They get a car, they get a house. You have to go and find your grandmother's grade 1 teacher to write a letter to say you're a good person because you're in business. But it's just because we don't have those skills. So I'm hoping that eventually with all the education that we have, we'll get there. Yes, thank you to the corporates, but I also know we don't trust them that much. And that's why having a personal face is thriving. That's why they ask us to be influencers. People trust humans. So they're doing their part, but you also should too. Thank you.
On the AI question, I don't have an answer. I have thoughts. And my thoughts on AI is they can change by tomorrow because a new model can come out and then things have just completely shifted. I think for now, AI, it's helping us argument how we currently work, to be honest. That's my experience of it. It's helping us work more efficiently. I mean, it's like an accelerated version of Google. You don't have to go to Google and go to AI, Copilot, and whatever. It does a bit more sophisticated things. We haven't really seen its big benefits that they've been promising us, all of these Claudius and all of these people that they've been lying to us, I think. They've invested a lot of money, but if you look at the companies that have invested in AI, those are the holding companies of the AI companies. That's where the billions have been coming from. It's not necessarily because AI has resolved the issue of cancer. For me, you talk to me when AI resolves and solves cancer. Right? Because that's what they promised us, that these things will be able to resolve all those diseases that have not been able to be resolved. So yes, you can't obviously be blind to it and say everything is normal. I don't think things are normal. I think there's a huge progression towards the ability of AI to do certain types of jobs, right? If I think about the investment banking space, for example, you now have one of the modules in Claude that can draft investment banking presentation. It's specifically built for that. So if you think of a young analyst that is doing the presentations, that module actually does that, right? So there are areas that will be impacted. But my biggest thing about AI, I think, and I've had a chat, one of my conversations a while back about this, is what I don't want to see in this country is another form of apartheid through AI, because there's the haves that have these abilities to use these tools, and there's the people back home who have no clue what's going on, right? And as we build and we talk about these things, how do we take the country forward so that we don't create another division inadvertently? We're not doing it deliberately, but we speak about these technologies as though everyone has access to them. But you're building, again, a gap between the haves and have-nots. There's 60% young people who are unemployed. I don't think they are concerned about AI, by the way. We are here, of course. They are concerned about getting a job, starting a business, and so forth and so on. So I think as we accelerate and we get into these technologies, let's not create, and this, it will be us now, another form of them versus the others. That is my big concern about how technology is accelerating, is don't let us not leave anyone behind. That is my focus when it comes to these technologies, is how do we make sure that we are not leaving anyone behind as the world moves forward. Yeah.
Just a quick note on your question around how Nedgroup Investments is investing in our people versus expecting our people to invest in us. So our first thing, I think Nedgroup has put their money where their mouth is by employing the youngest black female professional to become a regional manager for Nedgroup Investments, and that is me. The second way is through our best-of-breed investment strategy. So what that means is we've got actively managed funds where we set up the mandates of what we actually want them to deliver in terms of return and volatility. But then also we get to choose which asset managers we want to have run those mandates. For the first time last year, we launched our first black fund, where we actually have chosen 3 black asset managers to manage one of our equity funds. And that's a core building block fund that we use in our multi-managed strategies, where anyone who invests in our multi-managed solutions actually also invests in those funds. And then I think lastly, we invest in our people through access. Most platforms, you will find that to invest in their products, you need 500 Rand. Alan Gray the other day did announce that they've increased their minimums to 1,000 Rand per month. Ours, we keep it as low as 250 Rand per month, because we understand that we come from different facets of life, we're in different phases of our life and different levels of affordability. So we try to do it through employment, but also deploying to black asset manager and through ensuring that no one is left behind from an investment minimum perspective. Okay, there was another question.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. So I'm Gregory Makama. I'm actually a direct beneficiary of ABSIP, former ABSIP EXCO member as well. They funded my university. So those who are still not convinced, my first job also came from being part of the mentor-mentee program, etc. And I mean, ever since then, I've never looked back. I've got a very solid network because of ABSIP. So my question to you guys is, I think, we're getting excited. People have businesses. People are getting successful in corporate. But for me, I still struggle with the question around the transfer of wealth once we've become successful. Because I think on the other wing, where, white people have this wealth and they transferring it, it then gets destroyed. So we're trying to build it to transfer, but actually, potentially, we might actually end up destroying it. So outside of the financial instruments that are out there, how else can we actually transfer wealth and make sure that it preserves as it's being transferred?
Can you define wealth in your context?
So what do you define wealth as for yourself? How do you transfer the wealth that you believe is important to you and for the generation to come?
Anyone want to take that?
I think there are multiple ways. I think you spoke about the trust that you can create, where you have trustees that can act on behalf of the beneficiaries. Those being whether your children, your spouse, your whatever, where you have professional trustees that are always acting on behalf of those particular beneficiaries that you've selected. And you can structure your trust deed such that only at given intervals, only certain types of events that need to happen for the money to be accessed and so forth. That's if we are talking about the money. I spoke about the transfer of knowledge as well. And of course, it's so important that we ensure that our kids and those that are not our kids but our responsibility by association of who we are get the education. And through us, obviously, doing our bit to try and educate and uplift our own communities. And that's why I love doing community work, because the more knowledge we share, without making it intimidating for people, it uplifts people's ability to look after themselves as well. So it's important that whatever it is that you consider wealth, how you transfer it, it's not just transferring the money. I know what you're talking about when you die and the other guys are like, oh, finally, millions, right? They didn't work for it, so it disappears very quickly. And that's why the trust is a very good instrument to be able to preserve at least the financial part of the wealth. But I think for me, what got me here was the education aspect. So that is so fundamental. But education doesn't have to be formal education, by the way. There's many ways in which we educate ourselves. Some of the most successful entrepreneurs didn't go to university, right? Life will teach you lessons as well. So it will force you to be educated. So it's knowledge, actually. So you get educated, you get knowledge. But the most important thing, I think, is wisdom, because there's a difference, of course. And as you grow, as you get life experiences, hopefully you are able to transfer the wisdom, because that's what really is the differentiator, is the wise versus the knowledgeable versus the educated. Wise people are the ones that most of the time succeed. So how do you translate the wisdom to make the right choices? Because the education is fine, you can read it, but what is the wisdom that helps you at any given interval to make the right choices? We have to invest in our people. So we can't be sitting here at our organizations and then go home, and then when do we get to spend time with each other like this, to share the wisdom, to share what we've learned, and we might not get it right all the time. So I think there's multiple ways, but the wisdom and creating the structures that can help preserve for a generation to come really does help. And getting our young kids into the habit of understanding businesses, understanding financial literacy, and so forth. And that's why we spend a lot of time and effort at Nedbank and Nedgroup Investments going out to the public, doing the podcast, teaching from a young age financial literacy. In fact, it's so despicable that we don't have at our primary schools subjects that are dedicated to these things, right? It's actually so unfair to the generations that are coming behind. We didn't have it, but we can do something about it. I think that's the challenge of the day as well. How do we make sure that these conversations don't end here? How do we translate these conversations? So you need to make sure that every child, by the time they go to high school, they have a capability set of understanding finances. Yeah.
I think that's such an important point that you mentioned towards the end. And the reason why I was pushing you, Greg, to define wealth, because I just needed us to be clear on what the definition is if we're making it non-financial. But I think one thing that we've seen in our industry quite a bit is that the people he was talking about earlier, the ones that are not in the room now, what they do quite well is they teach their children while they're still alive.
Yeah.
If they've opened up a business, their kids are going to spend time in that business. If they've created wealth, they are teaching their kids while their kids are still working how to manage that wealth. So they don't wait until they die to actually control how the children actually use the wealth. If you think about it, when we go to school, we are taught how to think, we are taught certain subjects. When we go to church, we are taught religious practices and what's wrong, what's right in terms of Christianity, or whatever your belief system is. When we go to cultural events, we are taught, the importance of our cultures and the cultural norms. But while you're creating all of that knowledge on all of those facets of life, no one's really teaching us how to manage money such that when we earn our first income, it's natural. So that's what we need to do differently for our children so that when they grow up, they are not guarded by the trusts we set up only. They're actually employing the right discipline methods when it comes to their money strategy so that they're growing their own wealth while you're still alive, while they're employed. But then, Greg, like I said, when it comes to us setting up businesses, we need to ensure that we are exposing our children to the businesses that we set up. When we are employed, wherever we're employed, let's create ways for our children to also get internship opportunities and get exposure. Because as you've said, your mom is in healthcare. My mom was in healthcare. So I was doing this whole banking thing for the first time with no one guiding me, with mistakes along the way, but it's easier when you've actually had a few opportunities to experience, reflect, and grow your skill set before you're actually formally employed, which are all things that I think the people who've been doing this much longer than us have the foresight and honor to have been practicing long before we even entered the chat. I think it's time to go to the next question.
Yes, we have a question online from Siba Tsomo, and it reads, how soon should a young professional get a financial advisor? What are the panelists' views on using AI for financial planning?
And okay, I'll take it quickly because your segment. But financial advisor or planner, I think you can start as soon as you're able to. You'll also find that you actually usually don't pay for the conversation. You just pay once you've taken the product. So I remember when I was shopping for a financial advisor, I interviewed them. I had multiple questions for them. And sometimes I actually just said, nah, I'm not feeling it, just based off of really silly things, but it meant a lot to me. Like some person commented a weird thing on the social thing that was happening. And I was like, okay, I'm not sure I can trust you with, my money. So the sooner you can start, the better. Just remember it is a conversation, but also keep asking yourself, how is this person getting paid? And is this advice once off, or do they get paid throughout? And I know even in the book, I always say, don't assume that every finance professional can help you. People will say, oh, you're a tax specialist at Nedgroup, please do my e-filing. And you're like, hey, Bo, I'm not even a tax practitioner like that. So people don't know what other finance professionals do. So test it out. And then, sorry, what was the second question?
AI.
Oh, on AI rather. AI is great just to jog your memory, just to help you find the questions that you should ask, but it doesn't hold you accountable. It's also not really safe because now you're uploading your bank statements, but what if your information is not available? But it is a great tool. You can use it. I mean, it's free. You're also doing it in the comfort of your home. However, it sometimes does struggle to give you practical steps. It doesn't know you fully. For example, if you search how to invest and you maybe ask for a video, it'll probably bring you to me. But am I really the final barrier before you start investing? Probably not. So I think just tread lightly, use it, but also speak to humans.
Should I take it?
Yeah.
Just very practically and very quickly, if you are looking for an accredited, licensed, non-debarred, advisor, please go to Google and search Find an Advisor, and you can follow any tool. There's a tool from Sanlam, there's a tool from Ellen Gray from 91, where they've actually got a whole list of financial advisors that they have done a due diligence on, and they trust and they work with them, so you can trust them. But the tool will actually filter and ask you a few questions so that it can get closer to narrowing the top 3 advisors that they think you'd be best paired with. So it'll ask you questions around how much do you want to invest? Are you thinking more about insurance policies? Where do you stay? What language would you like the advice to be in? Those types of questions. So then through that, you'll find your top 3 advisors, but at least you know that they are proper guys that are licensed to give the advice. The other thing, when you're talking to them, as Nokuhle has said, try to actually ask them outright, how much are they getting charged for the advice they're giving you? And what is the commission they're getting through the products that they place for you? But I think the other thing is that, because you want to make sure that you are setting yourself up to build a relationship with the advisor that you can grow with through your entire career. That includes when you're getting married and you need new insurance policies, you need to take up trusts, etc., etc. So you need to make sure that they've got all the categories of products that you're going to need on your journey. So they can actually show you their certificate, because the last thing you want is to be sitting with an advisor that can only write risk or insurance policies. They can't give you advice on investments, they can't give you advice on setting up your will and things like that. So that is very important. Next question.
Okay, the last question is from Mahlogonolo Nkadimeng. How do you know if a financial advisor has your best interest at heart or not?
Bongani Teta, please.
How do I know? I mean, I think you need to, well, first of all, you need to know what's your interest yourself, I think. Let's just start there. And I think the interviews that you're talking about, speak to people, interview them, and, make sure, there's nothing as great as networks. You can go to all of these platforms, but you can also speak to people. You can also actually speak to other colleagues who've been able to be helped by their own financial advisors. So don't limit yourself to the platforms that seem like the easiest platforms to go to. Speak to people. I've had my advisor for 17 years, right? From day one when I started doing this. I've referred lots of my friends and families to this particular person. So sometimes somebody who's known by someone, word of mouth, that you can trust through good relations and so forth, that can also help. But yeah, watch that statement as well, and the commissions and all of these other things, and make sure that whenever you meet with your financial advisor, don't just spend 10 minutes going through your portfolio. Spend proper time. And if somebody's not saying to you, this thing is not working, I think we should change it, because we've been here for 2 years or 3 years, I don't think it's the right asset for us. And so if people are not questioning themselves in front of you and the strategies you started with, and they just continue as business as usual, then I wouldn't trust them. You need to constantly question the decisions that you're taking, because the markets change all the time. There's volatility, there's new products, there's new ways of doing things. So if your advisor has been doing the same thing for 30 years, you are in trouble, because you have to come up with new ideas. Yeah.
I think final question before we close.
Hi everyone, my name is Yandiswa. I actually have a very simple question to Nokuhle. My question is, what books, or rather resources that you used to help you with your personal journey that can work for for a person that is coming from a non-financial background? Number 2 is that I've noticed when I read a lot of finance book by international authors, they will be like, I invested $20 in a stock market. But a black South African from the rural areas does not know what is a stock market, where do you invest in stock market, which share, which company, how do you even select which share on JSE? They don't even know that JSE exists. So when you were writing your book, how did you ensure, or rather make it simple for the next person with a non-financial background?
Thank you so much for your question, Yandiswa. So the book I'd recommend is Boss Your Money. Come on, guys, it's already here. It's met you halfway. No delivery fee. It's right here. But to answer you seriously, well, that is serious. But when I wrote Boss Your Money, I knew how frustrated I was, and I knew how embarrassing it was to not know certain things. Sometimes when I think about my journey studying, I'm like, yeah, no, I really know how to apply to a corporate thing, but it doesn't translate well into my personal life. But then in writing it, and even in videos and everything I do, I'm always like, I know that this is not for someone like me. It's so that I can give it to my little brother, so that I can give it to my mom. So during the writing process, we had an editor, so Pan Macmillan had an editor, and we'd tussle across, things, and they'd fix things and try and make me sound really nice and proper, and they'd use really big words, and I had to say, stop trying to make me sound smart. I'm not trying to sound smart, because people will then not understand it. There's even a glossary. The moment you open the book, there's a glossary, and it can get overwhelming because it's like there's so much that you're learning. We've defined JSE, we've defined diversification, there's examples. I love examples. I'm someone who, I love indaba, so I love gossip. So I learn better with stories, and even when I meet people, I might not remember the name, but I'll definitely remember a story. So even in explaining financial concepts, I try to bring it back to the South African reality. International books are great. I'm sure you've read a couple, Psychology of Money, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. There are many, but there's also a disconnect because they'll speak to Roth IRAs, they'll speak to the S&P 500, which you can still invest in, but it's not very home-based. Whereas in Boss Your Money and other financial books, okay, so you don't have to just get Boss Your Money. You can read other people's things. I believe there's many ways to skin a cat. So someone else might read the book and be like, yeah, I got there, and read something else and be like, oh, now this was. So I would just say, just try give local authors a chance, but also ask yourself, what background do they have, but also what is their writing style? If someone is writing in super complex ways, then are you really going to enjoy that book, or will you have your phone open half the time trying to Google, then you get lost in the algorithm because, now you're on TikTok? Or is it a book that you can read because it's got chapters about 5 to 7 pages per chapter, where just before you sleep, you're just reading a concept, you can highlight, you can draw, it's your book, you close it, and then in the morning it's like, oh yeah, I learned this, okay. And the thing is, when you talk, you can read out loud even, by the way. Read out loud so that your phone picks it up. Phones are always listening. You talk about a tax-free savings account, you talk about a trust, suddenly all these ads are coming through. So don't just talk about the nice gossip, talk about the helpful conversations too. And I hope you enjoy Boss Your Money. Thank you.
Guys, unfortunately, that concludes the fireside chat. So I'd like to invite someone from ABSIP, I think it's going to be Boitumelo, to come and formally thank our speakers for joining us this evening, taking time away from family and being here to share a lot of their insights, practical stories, but also their learnings. Guys, clap.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know about you. I'm hungry, but I feel well fed already, right? My name is Boitumelo Maja. I am the head of events pillar at ABSIP Young Professionals. And we've reached that bitter part of the event where we're coming to a close, right? So I'll promise I'll try to not take too much of your time, because I'm pretty sure that the only thing standing between you and having a glass of something or some bev or the delectable food prepared by Nedgroup is definitely me, right? So I'll try not to take too much of your time, but please allow me to do the closing remarks. As we come to the end of today's Savings Month, which is build, grow, and secure, I would like to take this moment to express our sincere gratitude to everyone who made this event a success. First and foremost, a heartfelt thank you to our sponsor and host, Lindiwe. Lindiwe, may you please ascend the stage? To me. to me. DJ. Lindiwe, thank you. Thank you so much. Your generous support, your partnership, the way you are so active in helping us planning the event actually, and your commitment to financial education and empowerment is what made this event possible. Your contributions have enabled us to create a platform where individuals can learn, engage, and be inspired to make informed financial decisions. We truly appreciate the investment that you have made in building financially resilient community. To our speakers, Nokuhle and Bongani, and not forgetting the host with the most, the effervescent Lutando. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, your expertise, and most importantly, practical insights. A lot of people attend these sort of events, right? But they become so basic that you really have nothing to take home with you, right? But I really believe that you have empowered our young professionals today. Your valuable contributions have helped bring the theme build, grow, and secure to life, and have empowered us all with tools to better manage our financial futures. And this is our gift from us to say thank you. Thank you from Nedgroup Investments and ABSIP YP.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. To all of you in this room tonight, I want you to know, and please let this live rent-free in your mind. The only thing standing between you and greatness is showing up. And look at you all of here, gathered here tonight, past probably our bedtimes, to just impart knowledge to yourselves. So please give yourselves a round of applause for investing in yourselves. To all the attendees, thank you for taking time to join us today. Your participation, your engagement, and willingness to learn has demonstrated a commitment to improving your financial well-being. We hope that the information and the discussions we've had today will inspire you to take meaningful steps. Not just walk out of this door with no action plan, but to take meaningful steps towards building a strong financial foundation for yourself, to grow your wealth responsibly, and securing a prosperous future for yourselves and for your families. To the wonderful ABSIP team and EXCO, all I can say is teamwork makes a great work. Well done. Ladies and gentlemen, before we open them throats, as we conclude, let us remember that financial wellness is not achieved overnight. It is a journey that requires discipline, that requires sacrifice. Of course, sacrificing that night out. And it requires planning and consistent action. May today's event serve as a catalyst for positive financial habits and informed decision making. And on behalf of the organizing team, thank you once again for joining us today. Together, let's build, grow, and secure. Now, before I bore you one more time, just a little bit of housekeeping matters, right? So now it is time for us to enjoy the refreshments. Nedgroup has prepared a delectable variety
of food. So please spare nobody and enjoy. And there are drinks. To satisfy your dietary requirements, we do have a halal section and we have a non-halal section. And there is a section that will be specifically for our speakers and our presenters and their guests. So please do just mind that section, but listen, go deep in it. All right? I just wanted to brief you guys a little bit. For anybody that needs to use the lavatory, it is right behind the main reception area. Right behind the reception area. Security will be very happy to open for you. Okay? Second housekeeping. The QR codes. I have to reiterate this, you'll forgive me. So, as ABSIP YP events, we are really planning some amazing stuff ahead, but we want to involve you guys, right? We not only want to involve our paid up members, but we want to involve people that are still interested, but a little bit hesitant, right? I would like to challenge you that another first step to investing in yourself is to sign up as a member of ABSIP YP. That's where you'll have access to attend events like this and access to other pillars that we have, right? So, to name a few, we're actually planning some amazing merch that will be coming up. So we would really appreciate if you do take time to, scan on the QR code and advise us which merch really appeals to you, right? So that we know how to serve you well in terms of the merch. While you guys will be networking and enjoying the nibbles, our AV team will definitely display the QR codes all around. So don't hesitate. You're welcome to come to any of our team members to actually scan, right? Actually, while I'm talking, can my team come so that you guys can put the faces to the name, right? I'd like to ask the entire events team to just come through so that you guys can put the face to the names. If you have any questions, if you'd like to know more about ABSIP, if you want to find out how to join, yeah? And second one, if you'd like to join our WhatsApp community group, we'll also be using these as a channel. But it doesn't end there. We have Instagram, we have Twitter, and we recently opened up a TikTok page. So do follow us and LinkedIn because it'll keep you abreast of any upcoming events that we'll have in future. Our pillar, think tank, would like to have and would like to encourage you to share your thoughts. So we're running a survey. I do challenge you. If you really like engaging in your thought leadership conversations, tackling economic issues that are affecting young professionals in South Africa, please do participate in the survey. We would really appreciate the insights, right? And we recently launched a wonderful magazine called Pinnacle. I'm just going to ask Katli to just ascend and just to tell you what the Pinnacle magazine is all about briefly. And yeah, I do encourage you to scan the QR code in your free time. If you need to draw any inspiration, other than the inspiration that you've drawn from our speakers and presenter today, I encourage you to read the magazine.
Good evening, guys. My name is Nokuhle Matate. On an annual basis, we publish the ABSIP Pinnacle magazine. It's basically a magazine. It's a platform. It's a platform for young professionals to basically share their knowledge, insights, and whatever they want to share insofar as the financial industry is concerned, financial and investment industry is concerned. But also what we do in the magazine is we basically provide a platform where young people can share thought leadership. And also, people normally use it as a platform to actually build their own personal brands, especially if maybe you specialize in a specific field. So people normally share their articles. We normally send out an article call out. And then once we've actually collated all the articles, we will actually then publish the magazine, usually around the third quarter of the year. So I do encourage you guys to actually engage with the magazine. You can find the magazine on our social media pages, but also it's on the website. So I do encourage you guys to visit our website, the ABSIP website. You'll find the magazine there, but you'll also find the link to the magazine on our LinkedIn and I know also on our Instagram, I believe. But yeah, guys, please do engage with the magazine, and I do encourage you guys to actually contribute to the next publication. Thanks. Thanks to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Without further waste of time, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.